Hi, Dustin Adams with you again. If you've been waiting for my next video, I'm sorry it's been a little while with the holidays and uh, family illnesses and such. I still might kind of have a froggy throat, so if that bothers you, I apologize. I did mention previously that I'd come back with a video on um, using some dynamic Web 2.0 tools with students that are younger than 13. Many of you are probably aware that there is a law known as COPPA, which determines how websites can collect information from students, and that is what gives us the terms of use on so many websites that limit use for children under the age of 13. So imagine if you know anybody with Facebook that's under 13, they've had to falsify their age to get that to happen. And just a little quote from the frequently asked questions connected to that law to give you a better idea of that than what I could give you on my own. It says the primary goal of COPPA is to place parents in control over what information is collected from their young children online. The rule was designed to protect children under age 13 while accounting for the dynamic nature of the internet. The rule applies to operators of commercial websites and online services, including mobile apps directed to children under 13 that collect, use, or disclose personal information from children, and operators of general audience websites or online services with actual knowledge that they are collecting, using, or disclosing personal information from children under 13. And then lots of information is available online about how this works. But what I think is most important to teachers that might teach fourth or fifth or sixth grade when students are so capable at using technology is how different websites that we might want to use handle the requirements of COPPA. And what I found is the basic approaches fall into some categories, and I want to walk through some of the websites I use and talk about how they meet the law's requirement. One that I use personally is Powtoon, and it is unavailable to people under the age of 18 unless you have an education account. It has this for edu. A teacher can set up educator accounts, and under that would be student accounts, and that would be available for students under the age of 13. But the free, just regular sign up for free for Powtoon, that one's not going to work. Voki is one that I really like. It's the one where you type things and an avatar speaks. The kids really like that the eyes follow the cursor. Oh, but anyway. Voki is one that I like to use with students. Again, it has an educator plan where you can have students, and I have been signed up for that in the past, and I'm not signed up for that now. But what's interesting is you can use Voki without registering, so you'd be handing over no information and not accepting the terms of use and just using it as a guest. Students can do that being under the age of 13, the limitation being they cannot save their work and come back to it. What they have to do is in one sitting complete their Voki. It would give them a permalink that they could send to you, and you could grade their work or see it or share it or whatever you want to do with their work. But they're not going to have that flexibility to come back and change it, keep a folder of all their Vokis in one place. But still, considering the alternative would be only a paid account or only not being able to use it, I think that's a pretty good compromise. VoiceThread is one that I've used where it's one of the applications where you can take a PowerPoint and narrate it, walk through it, maybe even have a webcam walk somebody through it. Really nice website. It is only available to people that are 13 and over to accept the terms of use, but it says right there in black and white that if somebody who's over age 13 like me registers, there's nothing violating the terms of use to have somebody under 13 use the application under my name as long as I'm giving permission and kind of taking on that responsibility to ensure that the student's not sharing personal information. Keep in mind, even if this law kind of gets in the way of what I want to do sometimes, I still know that it's super important that we're keeping kids from going online, putting up their personal contact information, even just the idea of things being on the internet being accessible forever, going on and putting on silly things that are connected to their name. I realize that that's a good thing for society, that we're not having kids do those things. And it's just important to know how to still use these tools, but to limit our students' exposure. Prezi is just like VoiceThread in the sense that I could register a Prezi. I have so many windows open that it's not wanting to load very fast. I have an account, and students can use my account, but no one under the age of 13 can have their own account. Animoto. Animoto is a really easy to use website for creating videos out of pictures, and it has educator accounts. Other than that, you're not going to be able to have somebody under the age of 13 register, but if the teacher registers and gets student accounts, that will work. And that is the same as Glogster. Glogster, I began using it a few years ago when the standard Glogster was kind of not seen as an education tool. It was kind of a scrapbooking or poster making tool, kind of geared towards teens, and I think they realized the education potential, and now I think the standard approach to Glogster is to use it in education. There are classroom accounts that are available, but then it's up to the teacher to set that up. And a lot of times these EDU accounts do cost a little bit. Sometimes it's as low as $25 a year. I think that might be what it is for Voki. So definitely accessible, but it adds up if you want to use all of them or most of them. Let's switch. There are some applications that do meet the requirements of the law by collecting no information from the students, and then they do allow students to register, and the way you do that is you have to have a registration that isn't connected to personal information. And since personal information is sort of the currency of the internet right now, you kind of have to admire sites that do that. I'll start off with one. The BBC has a typing program that is called DanceMat Typing. There's no registration for this. It would be nice if it would keep on the lesson the kids are on as they progress through them, but instead they just have no registration, and the kids have to find the lesson that they should be on anyway. Websites like that, it's useful to take that approach. Scratch is the incredible programming. I don't know. I think I've heard it called like a sandbox, where students can go in and learn a really basic version of programming. It was set up by MIT, and it has a registration, but it does allow students under the age of 13, so they're not collecting any of that information. But then we do need to teach our students to be good digital citizens and understand that would mean just because the website doesn't collect the information, it doesn't mean the student couldn't give away the information unprompted if they wanted to. So if they were creating a Scratch project or any other project, and they put their name and phone number and how to get a hold of them, we just got to get students to realize that's a terrible idea and to avoid doing that sort of thing. KidBlog is one of the many, many blogging sites out there. This one is geared to students K to 12, and it is one where students are registered, but their identifier isn't really connected to their personal information. It's set up by the teachers. I've used it. It works really well. The students are so anonymous that I was letting students choose their own kind of username, since it doesn't, you really shouldn't have it be somebody's first and last name, since that's identifying information. I had students that were Colts fan 45 and things like that, and that does keep you safe according to the law. Newzella, I'm not I think I've heard it said both ways. is incredible, especially for language arts teachers, especially trying to meet the requirements of Common Core. It is one where a teacher can set up an account, and then students get their own accounts that are COPPA. It meets the requirements of the law. It's compliant. That's the word I've been looking for. It is compliant. If a teacher does not set up an account, students can go to the website. They can use it. They just wouldn't be registered users. Edmodo is sort of like Facebook for schools, and it's not one that I currently use that much, but it kind of started me on this path of understanding the requirements to get students registered for each site. Edmodo had a really accessible terms of use agreement that said that students will get written permission from their parents. And it's an extra step, but once I thought about it and I thought about all the websites I want students to register for or have student accounts, I just decided that using a kind of blanket agreement for parents to look at why we're using these different websites, having links on there to the terms of use to all the websites I want, and then say, you're welcome to look through the websites, the terms of use as carefully as you desire, and then the parents sign off on that and they mark out any that they don't want their student to use. It's just one of those things that in that way the parents are in control and they get to decide how their students' online experience is driven. And I think that if you're anything like me, we don't normally spend that much time looking at the terms of use when we agree to something, so most parents are fine with it, especially when if that letter communicates how much thought you've put into keeping the students' personal information safe and away from prying eyes. I think it's very much appreciated. Let's try to get through a couple more. EduClipper is a bit like a Pinterest for education. It's not one that I've used that much, but it also requires parent permission, so I think that blanket form is a good way to do that and keep those on file so you could pull them. Another thing I'd add to that is you should offer parents the choice to withdraw their permission at any point with just a written note. What do we got next? Meta is something I'm super interested in. I haven't spent much time on it yet, but it's multimedia storytelling, and you can insert polls and quizzes. I'm intrigued. I'll spend some time on this later. Maybe I'll do a video on it if I ever get good at it, but it's another one of those where it does ask that an adult registers the class and then the students have their own account. Brainscape is another one that it allows students the age of under 13 to use, but it says right there in the terms of use that there should be strict adult supervision. Probably a good policy. You Tell Story is one of the websites that lets you do presentations using pictures and words and even narration. It allows students to register if they're under the age of 18, but they do need parent permission. And then Quizlet is one that I use all the time. It's a pretty basic flashcard website. You can register if you're under 13. You must have parent permission, and the features for students that are under the age of 13 are reduced. I'm not under the age of 13, and I don't know exactly what that looks like, but that kind of comes straight from the terms of use. I'm running out of time. I will put below some of the resources that I've used to compile this list. I'll do the best I can to make this accessible because I know I went quick, and I'll put some links down there that if you have more questions or if you want to figure out how to use the websites that you like to use and make sure that you're compliant to the law, I'll include those below. Please comment on any compliance issues you know of Web 2.0 tools, or even just Web 2.0 tools that you think the people that interact here would enjoy. Thank you. Make sure you give me a follow at TeachTeachBaby on Twitter. Thank you.